Now let's talk about China and their discrimination against I don't know how to pronounce the name of this ethnic minority group, Uyghur or Uyghur, Uigher or something like that. But anyway, it's a small ethnic Muslim community, small in terms of, it's Uyghur? Uyghurs, okay, thank you. The Uyghur community in China. So apparently China is putting them in re-education camps and locking them up and doing horrible things to them. Now, I'm going to try to discuss this without putting a judgment on it. So, before I get taken out of context, because we know I will be, I'll say in the beginning, and then if I remember, I'll say it at the end. I'm not putting a judgment or an opinion on it. I'm just going to try to describe it. And it seems to me that China is treating the religion of Islam as a medical problem. Now, I'm not saying it is a medical problem, and I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm just going to try to describe it and then contrast it because it's really interesting. China is treating it like a medical problem, meaning that it needs quarantine and treatment. So another medical problem like that would be an addiction, for example, somebody who is addicted to drugs. You would quarantine them, keep them away from their sources of bad influences and bad drugs, and then you would treat them. Now, what's different is that a belief in a particular religion, whether it's Islam or any other, is you could think of it like an idea virus. Now again, I'm not going to say it's a bad virus. That's for you to decide. I'm just going to say that in terms of how it spreads by human contact, and once you get it, it's hard to get rid of it. And what's different from Islam from other religions is that you can't leave. You can leave, but you risk your life. It's more dangerous in some places than others. So Christianity has an escape valve. If you get into it and you don't like it, you can leave. But you can also, as we've seen, you can modify it over the years. It can become sort of whatever you want it to be. People have all kinds of flavors of it, but mostly it's a peaceful, coexisting kind of an idea. Islam has a bit of a conquest mentality built into it, as well as you can't leave or we'll kill you. And you can't marry somebody outside the faith. So, and again, forgive me if I get any of the details wrong, but you'll get the general idea. So, that's different from other ideas. So, other ideas you can reject or accept, and you can say it in public, oh, I reject that idea or I accept it. But with Islam, it's a different idea. It's almost like I don't want to characterize it in any way that acts like an opinion, but it's sticky, meaning that once you have it, you're going to keep it, and your kids are going to have it too, in all likelihood. So, you get all the details wrong. But tell me if I get anything wrong. You can. So, of course, there are, moderate Muslims, and lots of them. But you don't need that many to be the kind who want to take over the world and spread their religion and etc. before it becomes a social conflict with the people who don't want that. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, if you're going to judge it by our standard metrics of how we treat people in the West, you'd say, my God, China is treating the Uyghurs like a medical problem. And we're deeply offended by that because our sense of religion is that one of our most basic ideas is freedom of religion, freedom of thought. You can think whatever you think, go to the church you want. It's very basic to the West. But China is treating it like a medical problem. Now, suppose they didn't. Suppose they encouraged it, let it grow. Would it become a social problem in China? Well, there's a 100% chance of that, right? If the people who wanted a Muslim Sharia kind of a life grew to a large enough number, China would have to either accommodate them Or what? Or what? If they didn't accommodate them, they're not going to change their mind, because that's the nature of the religion, right? The Islamic folks in China are not going to say, oh, China doesn't like us to have this religion? Oh, well, why didn't you tell me? I'll just change my religion. That's not going to happen. So you can't deport them, can't kill them, can't put them in concentration camps. So China is making this cold calculation that we in the West would call evil, but they may be looking at it more as a system problem, like a machine that's broken. And they're like, okay, yeah, we better take the pain now, because if we take it later, it'll be worse. So they're discriminating in a way that we in the West would consider the worst thing that ever happened. But they're also treating it like a medical problem, which is a very different approach. We in the United States would almost certainly not do that, but we kind of are in a little way by limiting how many people can come into the country. The fact that we don't allow, and we would never allow, 100 million people to come in with such a radically different view of how things should run is because the idea is dangerous, like a virus. But we don't think of it that way.